what we're going to do now is we're going to leap into the next part of the evening, and I'm going to introduce our interview guest, the wonderful, amazing Mr. Robert Hinds. Just wait 1 second, let me give you the introduction. Okay, so Robert has had a highly successful career. Yeah? Do you want to rewind?
No.
Okay, fine. Okay. Robert has had a highly successful career as an architect. He was the lead architect for the Norman Manley Airport in Jamaica, no less. And he's done beautiful buildings all around the world. And there was something inside Robert that decided he wanted to help people on a more personal, one-on-one basis rather than the buildings. He was going to work with people. And he has a mission to eradicate worry, doubt and fear from people's lives in order to implement clarity and certainty in how to improve their performance and achieve things that they didn't think were achievable in their lives, which is very admirable. And Robert's actually trained with Bob Proctor from The Secret, yeah? And we're going to listen to his adversity to celebrity story right now. Thanks very much, Robert. Thank you. Okay. Thanks very much. You're looking so dapper. Fabulous. Okay, so Robert, thank you so much for coming all the way from Brighton.
No problem whatsoever. It's always a pleasure.
And you were here with us at the beginning. You came to see us when we were down at Pissarro's, when we were first starting Inspiration Junction. And then you had locks, and we were in a dark little room, and it was really sort of like a really sorry little state. We were better than that place, so we moved on. But you've come a long way yourself, and I'd love to know, just tell us a bit about your story from the decision that you made to leave a lucrative job and a high status job as well, to actually take the path that you've taken now to become a coach.
Okay, well thank you for having me. It's been another pleasure to come back. I think the first time I was here with you was just before I went to do my coaching training, which was 2010.
10 was it? We started in 2009. Actually, it was late 2009.
End of 2009.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
But like I say, I'm a trained designer. I had quite a short career in architecture. It took 10 years to become an architect, and then I worked in it for 11 years, so it's 21 years in total. It was something that I always wanted to do from the age of about 7. I used to walk around with a sketchbook. I always used to carry a sketchbook. I always used to be drawing anything to do with anything modern, so if it was a modern door handle, if it was a light fixture, if it was anything which had a nice shape, I'd sketch it, I'd draw it. And the other passion that I had at that age was aeroplanes.
Okay.
So I always used to ask I grew up in South London, in Croydon, and I always used to ask my mum or my dad to take me down to Gatwick Airport.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't want to sketch the planes, all I wanted to do was look at them.
Okay.
So it was just a case of, I was fascinated about how something so large could fit so many people and actually defy the laws of gravity, take off, and then end up halfway across the world.
Yeah.
So not knowing anything about how the mind works, not knowing anything about these invisible laws which govern the universe, but just being interested in design and being interested in airplanes. And then 20 years later, I'm an airport designer. Okay, and you had those visions going on in your head all the time. So law of attraction just got you to be an airport designer. There were a lot of things happening which I didn't understand at the time, and it's not until I then started my journey towards personal development that I then started to look back retrospectively over my life and started to see how I became an architect, why I got a lot of success in architecture at a very young age, and then just started to review that, started to break that down, and with the knowledge that I then started to get from the training, that then started to be able to really help me to understand more about me. And then more how to apply a process to myself, and then start sharing it with other people. Okay, so what was the point that made you think, okay, I'm going to down tools and I'm going to become a coach? Well, I mean, that's huge. I mean, literally, that's like, why would you leave such and a passion as well for all these years? Why would you leave that to go and, work with individual people? And what was the point? I think everybody asked me that. I'll reveal that now. Like I said, after all I wanted to do was architecture. And on one of the final airport projects I did, which was the airport in Kingston, Norman Manley International Airport, I was there for 3.5, almost 4 years, and I started to see characteristics of myself that I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
So there was a lot of the builders on the site. They were just there earning a wage. They didn't really exhibit any desire or any passion. And everything they were building terribly.
Yeah.
Absolutely terribly. If they were going to build a wall which should have been perpendicular to the floor, it was like this.
Yeah.
But I was the person who then had to go and sign that off.
Okay.
So I would go to inspect some terrazzo tiles. They weren't level, and I couldn't sign it off.
Yeah.
So many a times I would always end up saying to the builders, I'm really sorry, this is going to have to be pulled up, this is going to have to be changed. And I could see the dejection in them. They had put some time, they had put effort, not very good effort.
Yeah.
So when I then started to say to them that you're going to have to put some more effort into doing your work because I can't sign this off because otherwise it starts to ruin my credibility. Some of them took that as quite an insult.
Yeah.
And then one Friday night I say invited me.
Okay.
But not against my will, but invited me to a room to. But I then started to say to them, you've got to start taking more ownership of your work.
Yeah.
Then we did see an increase in the quality of the work, but then, like I said, one Friday night they invited me to come onto site, and about 5 of them said to me that they were really grateful that someone had actually taken the time to
pay attention
to them and actually then start to tell them something which could actually start to improve their work quality, and people would then start looking at them differently.
Okay.
So over the next 6 months we saw such an increase in the quality of the work. That made me feel good, that made them feel good.
Yeah.
Then one of them had the idea that he wanted to open up a juice bar.
Okay.
And he had no idea how he wanted to open the juice bar. He never shared it with anybody.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough to share that with me.
Yeah.
And I went home that night thinking, how can I help this guy open up his juice bar? So I went back to him and I said, let's me and you go down to Kingston. We'll go and speak to 3 owners of juice bars and we'll just speak to them, ask them whether they will speak to us, and then we'll find out exactly what it was that they did to create their business.
Yeah.
How did they get the money? How did they get the inspiration to do that? And then the actual practicality of how they did things.
So a bit of market research, like primitive market research.
Very primitive scale,
Yeah.
So we did that with one guy called, I think his name was Trevor, and after about 4 months, he did not think that anyone was going to spend time letting him know how they started their business.
Yeah.
So he was really grateful for that. And after about 3 months, this gentleman disappeared from site. And when I started asking everybody else where is Trevor, they said he's opened up a juice bar.
Oh my God, he did it. Yeah, well done.
So I went down to visit him, he saw me in the queue, he came out and gave me the biggest hug. And he said, you were the only person who saw anything in me. You've given me the confidence to do this, you took the time out, you took me down to someone who had a business. And it was just being able to extract, so he already had it within him.
Yeah, as we all do, yeah.
So it's just being able to help him extract that himself, get him to believe in himself, and then just take him through a process that he could then start to apply this to what he was doing.
Okay.
So that worked well, and
Yeah.
I then did that with someone who wanted a t-shirt printing business.
Yeah.
I got people to go back to university, I got people to actually come out of professions what they were in for 10, 15 years, they didn't enjoy it, and I got them to start thinking about redirecting their life.
So then you started to think about redirecting yours now?
Well, still not at that stage.
Okay.
We carried on, I did a fantastic job with the airport, the whole team. But I really enjoyed what I was doing with these people. I came back to England, and the day that I came back, somebody handed me a copy of the film called The Secret.
Okay, yes.
I watched that once, I watched it twice, I watched it 3 times in a row.
I bought 7 copies. Every time I was reading it, somebody was talking about something, I gave them the book and I said, have this book, it's amazing, you should read it. So so I know what you're feeling, what you're doing with that, And
it was the information that was in that book. They were talking about intangible laws. And this is something that I had always thought about when I was younger. I was quite strange when I was younger. Strange in the fact that I always thought that there were things out there which we couldn't see. I never had the confidence to be able to talk to anybody about this. And then I started watching this film called The Secret, where they were talking about different laws. And it was there was one gentleman in particular on it, a guy called Bob Proctor. And watching this movie, it was almost as if he was just talking to me. He was talking about law of cause and effect. He was talking about the law of gratitude. He was talking about just how to really start to lend yourself to the universe, and the universe will then start to yield. And as long as you've got a desire, a heart's desire, and you start to put in the action, then you will then start to cause variances within the universe. So hearing this was just something which really, something shifted in me after watching that film.
Yes, somebody believes in what I actually already believe, so therefore it must be true. Yeah. Amazing. So what was the process from there then? What did you do? You took the course with him and then...
From there I started to look at all the teachers from The Secret. So there was Bob Proctor, there was John Assaraf, there was Dr. Michael Beckwith, there was Lisa Nichols, and I started to pick up any book, material, recording that I could find of these teachers, and then started to listen to audio, started to read books, and it was information that felt so true. They always say once you hear the truth, you'll know the truth, and this really started to resonate with me. So at the time I was living in Hove, and I was travelling up to work in Tottenham Court Road, so I had a 2.5-hour journey to work.
So you were still being an architect?
Yeah, I was still working within architecture. So I was travelling for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
My usual activities on the train would be reading the Daily Metro, listening to music, and probably doing a crossword.
Yeah.
And then once I started to listen to all this information, I completely emptied out my iPod.
Yeah.
I got a ton of audiobooks, and I just started listening to how you can have two people doing the same job. One becomes very successful, and one just becomes mediocre and settles for normality. And it was because they were then starting to live their life in alignment with these universal laws.
Yeah.
So another 2 years went by. I was studying a hell of a lot of personal development material, and I could start to see that my attitude was changing.
Yeah.
I could start to see that I was getting pay rises at work.
Yeah.
I was going the extra mile. I was just living my life in harmony with these laws. Still not really conscious of what I was doing, but just knowing that I was doing something which was slightly different, which was in harmony with universal laws, and I was getting absolutely great results from it.
Yeah.
And then I heard that Bob Proctor was coming over to Italy.
Okay.
I only ever thought that he stayed in the States, and having studied his work for the previous 2 years, I said to my girlfriend at the time, who's now my fiancée, I have to go and see this gentleman in Italy. He was in a place called Rimini, in Bologna.
Yeah.
And then we bought tickets, and we went over there, and that was when I could then actually see Bob Proctor live on stage.
Yeah.
Again, seeing him on stage, that created another shift within me.
Yeah. So okay, so you're on this journey, and at some point you've made a decision that to leave architecture and become an amazing coach. What was your greatest challenge, and what was your scariest moment in all that transition?
I think that, and I can remember this so well, the scariest thing for me was the decision to leave my beloved architecture. After having been involved for 21 years, seeing this gentleman on stage, he was there for a 2-day seminar, and after 2 hours I made the decision that I was going to leave architecture, and I wanted to do what that gentleman was doing, because I could see how much he changed my life, and I really wanted to be able to influence other people's lives with that. And so it was a very, very scary decision.
Yeah.
I spoke about it at length with my fiancée at the time, because the salary that I was earning was the main salary in the household. And it was just, we knew that we would then be relying on my fiancée's salary.
Yeah.
I would need to get a part-time job, and it was just one of the scariest decisions I've ever made, because it was walking away from architecture. Would it work?
Yeah, walking into the unknown, like into the mist, and think, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just not getting the support from people who I thought I would get support from.
Yeah. Tell me that story. Tell me, I've been there. Yeah. And I bet quite a few of you have been through that story as well, that you think, okay, people that you can rely on, they're going to support me because they've been there all the time, and then as soon as you make a decision for your life, it's like, oh, where are they? They've gone. Okay, so you're on your own. Apart from the ones who get you, really understand.
And sometimes you can get support from the people who you least expect.
Yes.
And sometimes the people who you think are going to give you the most support, you get the least support.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. So how do you actually overcome all this scariness? And I mean, how? There must have been a point where you thought, right, I'm fine now. Everything's fine. The scary thing has passed, and I'm now doing what I love, and everything's okay.
Okay, this fine period didn't come for about 9 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
So just going through that period after making the decision, one, it was deciding or letting my boss know that I didn't want to do architecture. So I was an associate at that point. I had a 3-month notice. So I went through the period of, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? Then it was letting my mum know, my dad know, my family, why was I then? My mum said to me once, "Why do you?" I said I wanted to become a life coach,
Yeah.
and she said, "I didn't know you could swim." Because I was not a lifeguard. There's a life coach.
Oh, but that's a good one. Yeah,
And I started to tell people that I wanted to take this new route, and everybody said, "Rob, you're a fantastic you're a really good architect.
yeah,
Why do you want to go into a coaching business? You don't know anything about coaching. What if it fails?" We had quite a big mortgage at the time.
yeah,
You're being irresponsible. You're letting your girlfriend down. You're letting your family down.
yeah.
And it was just, I had some really dark moments where
Yeah.
I just started to think, well, why do I want to do this? So it was just, I had to go through a lot of self-reflection, asking myself, is this what I really want? Why do I really want this? You know, how long is this just a fad? Is this gonna? How long is it gonna last? And I think when it then really did hit home was when I actually left architecture. I booked myself onto the coaching course with Bob Proctor. That didn't start for another 3 months.
Okay.
So then I then had to find part-time work to be able to then still bring some money into the house. And I started delivering flowers.
Okay.
So many people saw me driving around Brighton in a flower truck.
Yeah.
And people said, "Oh, you own a florist as well?" I said, "No, I'm actually working for the florist,
Yeah,
delivering
Yeah, because it's
flowers."
like a come down, isn't it? Like, you know, from your status to delivering flowers. But you're doing what you had to do. To, you know, and that's when somebody has a passion about something, you do whatever it takes to make whatever it is work. So, yeah.
And these are the things I didn't realise at the time.
Yeah.
But there was really strong principles that I was going through. Like you just said, doing whatever it takes, going that 100%. And then this is once I then made the transition and really started to retrospectively look over my life, look at why I became successful in architecture, the transition from how I went from architecture to coach, what the feelings were, what the situations were, and once I could then start to extract the things from that, and then start to formulate a system from it, a process from it, and then to be able to then apply it to the things I was then getting involved with.
Yeah, yeah. Well done to you. Well done. Amazing. Okay, so what's your big picture vision? Where are you going now? So you're being successful now. Everything's ticking over. Everything's fine. You're doing your thing. So what's next? Where are you going?
Because when I grew up, I didn't have any role models. My parents came from Jamaica. My mum came over in '59. My dad came over in 1960. My dad was an incredibly hard-working man. He used to work 16, 17 hours a day. I didn't used to see him much because he used to work so much. So I had a fantastic relationship with my mum. So I just knew that I didn't have a family yet. I have a 3-year-old daughter now. But I just knew that.
She's gorgeous.
She's the love of my life. And I just knew that I wanted to take a more educational role, loving father role in the life of my daughter. I wanted to be able to see her growing up during her early years and not follow the pattern what my dad had with me. My dad was a fantastic man, and he did what he had to do to be able to bring money into the house.
And that was the thinking at the time anyway. That was an era. That's what you do. That's the kind of thing you do. It's not. You would never think of you know, dad staying at home and looking after, you know, the children or being around the children and still earning money. I mean, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Because the mum stayed at home, the father went out to work.
Yeah.
So that was one of the driving forces, that I did want to create time freedom, so I could be able to spend time with my family and not just be out working. So that was one of the strong whys behind that.
Okay.
And another one is, well, now that I know the principles that I went through to build the companies that I've had, is a lot of these principles you don't learn in school, or you learn the complete opposite in school. Like in school, I was always taught to do your best and not actually share information. Where anybody who's now on a route to success, you realise that it's the people around you who you become successful with.
Yeah.
No one is going to make success on their own.
Exactly. Hence us here tonight trying to work with each other and collaborate. Yeah. No man is an island. So yeah.
And then really instilling that belief within yourself. I had, like I said, I didn't have any role models. So my role models came from people like Michael Jordan, Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, Angela Davis. I used to read biography after biography after biography, and I used to just see the traits that these people had, how they came through diversity. Each one of those had a story, and it was just when I went through the dark patches of my life, that's the things which I really drew from.
That's where you can have the story to tell, to say, hey, yeah, this is what you have to go through. It's like like going through the fire to make steel, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really got to bear the pain. So
So
yeah.
that big picture vision for me now is to create global academies of entrepreneur schools
Okay.
for youngsters, so
Oh my
they can
gosh.
start to learn these, so they can start to implement these success principles.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's like huge big vision. Huge big vision. Yeah. So how far are you along that route?
I'm going good with that.
Yeah.
I'm now being invited to talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs.
Okay.
One of the businesses that I've built is with a company called Beaumont-Whyte.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is that I'm a mentor to quite a few hundreds of young people now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I say, they come through school. Some of the things like that, it's getting that self-belief. It's starting to little small things that you can do to start to be able to take the warrior out of you and not become the victim.
Yeah. Yeah. Fabulous. With the little bit of time we've got left, if you could just tell our group here how people can get some more of you, and what is it, if you've got something to share with them that you've got an offer,
Yeah,
anything
sure.
like that, yeah?
I created a campaign which was called Freebie Friday, and like I say, I had a lot of negativity around me when I was younger, and for you need to start to eradicate the negativity and start to get more positivity around you. So what I've created is something which is called Freebie Friday, and Freebie Friday is just, I speak about a short topic, either a success tip or maybe an idea that maybe someone hasn't really, a different way of looking at something. So every Friday I release a video to anyone who's on my list.
Yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
And that's just a way of being able to have a regular flow of positivity into your life. But I know some people, maybe the people that they're hanging around with now or their circle of influence isn't very positive. They may have an idea to start a business, to find their life partner, to be able to start some type of personal development. And if you haven't got that supportive network around you, it can be extremely difficult to be able to raise your internal vibration.
Yeah.
So I've got something which is called Freebie Friday.
Yeah.
It's a short video which goes out to my list every Friday. Something else I do is a Think and Grow Rich mastermind group.
Right.
And this is where I get between 8 or 10 people together who have got a vision, who have got a dream,
Yeah.
and then I take them through a really fantastic book. Many people may know this book, but it's called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Written by
How many
Napoleon
people have
Hill.
read Think and Grow Rich? Yeah? No? No? Well, you've got to read it. It's the Bible, it's the daddy of all personal development books. By Napoleon Hill. Yeah, you've got to read it. Or if you notice, all the top executives, all the top people, Branson and Sugar and all of those guys, they swear by this book as one of it's on their shelf. So read that book. Okay. So your mastermind is based on that book.
Yeah, this book is just a quick story about the book. It was commissioned by a guy called Andrew Carnegie, and he was the wealthiest person at the start of the 20th century, and he amassed a fortune of wealth through steel. He spent half of his life amassing the wealth and the second half of his life giving the money away. So he built Carnegie Hall. Anything which says Carnegie is from Andrew Carnegie. But he was looking for somebody to be able to distill the process that he used to create his wealth. And he found a very young reporter by the name of Napoleon Hill. He introduced Napoleon to a lot of his wealthy friends, to captains of industry. And Napoleon spent the next 25 years interviewing over 500 of the world's most successful people. And then he distilled this into principles of achievement. So I now help people to really, a lot of people read this book and sometimes they don't understand it. It's 13 chapters. They don't understand it. It's written in very old language.
Yeah. It took me a while to get into the language and get into the rhythm of the language.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's an amazing book. Yeah.
So I help get people together in a 11-week series. Not only do I take them through the book, but I also just tell them how I translate that book into my life and how I've become successful through that, and then help them to create a vision for themselves, help them to discover their purpose, and then help them to use those principles to be able to then get themselves to where they want to be.
Yeah, fabulous. So how do, if anybody wants to get involved, how do they get involved with
You go to my website,
Yeah.
which is www.rchinds.com.
You'll put it on the board, yeah.
That you can find out all the information from there. There's an FAQ sheet.
Yeah.
There's a short video of me telling you what it's about.
Yeah.
And then from there, I usually do 2 to 3 groups.
Yeah.
And then
At
you
the
can
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run those consecutively.
Yeah.
And then you can fall into one of those groups, and then we then Freebie Friday is a free campaign.
Right.
And this is, my Freebie Friday is rchinds.com/freebie-Friday.
Yeah, good to have a pen that worked. Oh. I'll just jot it down to make sure it gets put up here. freebie-friday.com, is that?
Yeah, it's freebie-friday.com.
Okay. Great. I'll put that on for you as well. Fantastic. So have you got a word, a final word of wisdom for the group? Just something that you encourage them and or inspire them?
I'd say to really have belief within yourself. Dream big is the first thing.
Yes.
Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is that you believe that you want to do, you can do it. There's many examples of people who have done probably what you want to do now. So there's no reason to say that you can't do that yourself. Make sure that you get a group of supportive people around you, and be careful who you share your dream with, because sometimes there's a lot of dream stealers, a lot of naysayers out there who they find pleasure in being able to tell you that you can't do something. So really build a good network around you, but understand that you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
You do need a supportive team. And it's very interesting. I was talking to, I think it was Nikki. One of the activities that I do every day is meditate.
Yeah.
And that has helped me to hear the internal voice within, and really start to tap into yourself. You have to learn to trust yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We've all run from intuition, and if you can start to really tap into that intuition, you'll be guided to do the things which you think are without your reach, but they are most certainly within your reach.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, cheers. Okay, so we're going to go to a break now. So if anybody wants to have a chat with Robert about his course, about anything that that's been brought up, now's the time to do that. We've got 10 minutes before we come back and reconvene for the next section. So thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.
Thank you.